Hey guys, tonight my deep discussion really is going to be all over the place. It's not going to fit one area or the other. So bear with me on this. Um, First of all, I wanted to thank anyone that shows support to me by reading my blogs, watching my videos, or just sending encouraging words. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And also, I want to thank everyone that is part of the stroke and brain aneurysm family, that we are a supportive group to one another and that we cheer each other on even though we don't know each other, and slowly we are getting to know one another. But I think it is pretty remarkable about the connections we're making and that we understand one another and the journey that we're going through. So that support's needed, and you can have family support and friendship support, but it's much different when it is involving people that have experienced it themselves, because they understand where you're coming from. So I wanted to start off by saying that. So my second topic that I wanted to talk about is just getting something off my chest, because for some reason it rubbed me the wrong way, and I will get over it. But right now, everything seems to be a bit heavy with the presidential election, and I'm not going to get into political sides because that's just something that I don't do, because I want people to know me for who I am and not for who I affiliate myself with. Because you can be part of a political party and not fully agree with exactly 100% of what they embody. So you might be a mixture of both, or you may be affiliated with a party but not particularly like the person that's representing your party. And that's just going back to the beginning of time of America and elections. So I'm not narrowing it down on this, but right now, it is pretty heavy, and people are getting aggressive with each other. And to be quite frank, I have not seen so much hatred come across my news feeds as I am. It is very sad what I see. So I follow a lot of news outlets out of curiosity, and one of them is the BBC. And I keep up on that because I have a lot of affiliations in the UK, and it's just, sometimes I like what they're reporting, sometimes I agree with the people on there. And they did a story on American politics. And so I made a blanket statement about, have patience. We're all kind of trying to sort out our emotions at this point. It was a pretty innocent comment, and I was ambushed for my simple comment from people who were attacking me for I don't know what. But I didn't really let it bother me. The part that bothered me was one person decided to click on my Facebook profile, and at the top of my profile For some reason, it has personal blogger at the top rather than my actual day-to-day job that I earn money. And so it shows that I'm a professional life blogger. So that person pretty much called me an idiot for being a personal blogger as a job, and that's the best my pea-sized brain could come up with. So that kind of got under my skin. So I decided to respond that I work in the healthcare industry. However, I do blog about brain aneurysms and strokes because I almost died from one. So let that marinate. So when you want to attack someone, think about their life, what they've gone through. Why is it so easy to attack people? And I believe it's because we are not face to face and you're not getting to know that person. You're basing an assumption of someone on a comment and clicking on a profile picture and seeing that on the top it says personal reflection blogger and assuming that that's my whole life when it's not. I'm in the healthcare industry. I'm trying to make a difference. And I'm also trying to make a difference in the stroke world. So that got under my skin. But I said my piece and I've moved on, and that's the end of that. I know I dug myself my own hole by making a comment. I think anytime you make a comment on any type of social media, you got to be prepared that you're going to get ambushed. You could say the sky is blue and probably 20 people will attack you for it. And that's just their ammo. That's just what they do. And I don't understand the psychological background behind what compels someone to do that, because I'm all about free thought and opinions, and I see it constantly, on media where people make comments, and I may not personally agree with them, but I'm not going to attack them. Now, if I'm curious, I might say, help me understand why you feel this way. And when they explain it, I go, okay, I understand now, or, a simple agree to disagree. That's sufficient enough. But to rip into people and that you don't know anything about their life and you are assuming something about them based on a very innocent line is destructive and not good for humanity. And we have freedom of speech. I get that. So we're free to speak, but try to be more educated on how you say things, or come off as someone that actually cares at the topic of hand, and you want to why you feel a certain way, and calling people names. I'm not gonna say what political party I align myself with, but I see it with Biden calling people names, and I see it with Trump, like Trump pansies and Trumpsters and all sorts of stuff, and and then you see it with age too, like snowflakes or whatever. I mean, what our society has come to, and I believe it's always been this way, it's just more parent because we have that freedom of having a platform to speak and make comments. So, if someone wants to attack me for what I want to say, go for it. I have a thick skin, but only if I'm making an opinion-based comment. But when I'm making a comment about have patience, we are trying to work through this, that's not me making like a statement like we must go this way. It was just like we're dealing with a lot. So I didn't understand why I was being attacked. And if you really wanted to dig into my history and click on my Facebook thing, you would see that it says SAH stroke survivor. So you would know that maybe I shouldn't say those things, but I guess that's the nature of humanity, is that we feel protected behind a lens, and it's easier to say things because you don't have that fear of repercussions. I feel that I do have to conduct myself in a certain way because I work for a company, and what I say is a reflection of my company, potentially, or any future company if I were to ever leave. Like all this stuff they search and they can find. So conduct yourself in an intelligent way and compassionate way, because it's an archive of how you conduct yourself. So that's kind of what I wanted to get out of the way. I was not rubbed the wrong way with other comments, but it was pea-sized brain for being a personal blogger, and you just don't know what that blogger could be. It could be someone that had cancer and they blog about their cancer experience or something. You don't know. It's not like I'm a blogger for fashion and food, like that's an influencer. So I'm not an influencer. I'm blogging about my personal journey through hell and coming back, and the journey of other people and the hell that they're going through and back. So I hope that person reads that, and I hope it really marinates with them. So if not, out of my control. I don't have mind power controls. So that's essentially, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So what I want to go into is I am going to write a blog, and I'm approaching my 1-year mark in a couple months of having the worst day of my life that changed everything for me. And I am wondering, after, what have I learned in this time period, and what do I want to do next? So when I hit my 1-year mark, it's like, do I switch my blog topics to other things, or do I continue speaking on my journey of what's going on in my life? Do I cut it back to a monthly check-in? What am I giving other people, like, what benefits am I doing? I started the blog and this essentially for myself as a personal documentary of everything that I have gone through. And, you know, for me to, when I feel a certain way, to go back and read and see how, like, things aren't going your way, but remember this one time when you were this way, you got over it. And it's just something to boost my confidence and get me moving in the right direction. So I'm wondering at my 1-year mark, what more can I do to be a service to others? And I've been looking and researching, you know, about stroke research. And as I've said in my other blogs, my type of stroke is severely lacking in the research. And so I'm wondering who do I get in connection with to amp up the research, or who do I contact to offer any type of service to someone? Because I've personally have gone through this journey and I have medical expertise. Even if I didn't, I personally have gone through this. So I want to make a mark on society and be an advocate for stroke survivors and brain aneurysm survivors and hydrocephalus, which I rarely talk about, but that was a complication of my stroke and having a shunt placed in my head. So it's a constant reminder and something I have to be very vigilant about at all times to not hit the back of my shunt. So I'm thinking, like, when I hit the 1-year mark, like, I really just want to immerse myself into whatever I can to make a movement into the stroke world. And when I look at it, it looks more like it's focused on ischemic. So I want it to shift more to the other side of it, and more research about preventative measures or looking at other aspects. You know, as I've mentioned, on the type of stroke I had, I didn't hit any of the indicators of what causes that type of stroke. And I said that I feel like it's a migraine, but they refute that. And I disagree with them. And I wonder how much research has been done around, you know, the probability of migraine to stroke, and, you know, how much has been researched. And the other one is family history. My great aunt had the same type of stroke, so I believe family history did play a part. So does it skip a generation? Is it, you know, is this something my mom has to watch for? Is this something my sister has to watch for? You know, I'm not having kids, but if my sister has kids, is this something her daughter will have to watch for? So I want to understand the family history part of it as well. And I just don't find that there's a lot. And so when I look at stroke studies, the numbers of their control panel of what they're researching with ischemic versus my type of stroke is so small. And I get it. Most people don't live through my type of stroke. And I am wondering what can be done. So if someone has my type of stroke, why are hospitals not engaging, like, would you like to be part of a clinical study to understand more about why you had your stroke and understand, what happens throughout a time period? And then there's people with neurologic deficits, and to track and see, is it long lasting or is it short, and how much therapy, what type of therapy is helping. And then also, preventative measures as well as, a stroke scale. So, if someone's coming in for a yearly physical, and they're telling you all this information, what on the scale level do you feel they are at a stroke risk? And if you feel that they are, then giving them materials to help them understand that, that activities that they self-indulge in, like what I've read is smoking and drinking and drug use. If any of those people, talk about that, let them know that, not only is that detrimental to your health, but you're at a higher level risk of having a stroke. So, in my time of seeing doctors, never once was I ever told that I was at a risk of a brain aneurysm or a stroke. It happened. But I did advocate for myself several times with physicians that something wasn't right. Something was wrong. And I said my migraines were increasing and they were awful. There were indicators. And when I got scans, they were not brain scans. They were thinking that it had something to do cervical wise. So my scans were not a brain scan. And so I questioned that, and I kicked myself for not being more direct and more forceful about it, but I didn't have the insight back then that I was gonna have an aneurysm or a stroke. I just knew something wasn't right, and that these migraines and these high eye pressures that I had, that's something that I had. That's how we determined I had migraines. My eye pressures were way out there. And so when I was 21, I went to a glaucoma specialist, which is weird, right? Young age, seeing a glaucoma specialist, but rule it out because of the high eye pressure. And turned out no glaucoma, but I do have a strong family history of glaucoma. So they sent me to a neurologist, and they were like, well, you're having migraines, and that's what happens is your pressures go up. So I'm thinking, if that's going up, what are my vessels doing? Like, wow, how are they going? And I just wonder, if a baseline brain scan image was done, and maybe in a couple years doing another one, trying to see the vessels, would that have changed my outcome? I don't know. And I'm not an expert in this area, so I'm sure there are many neurologists that can explain it to me. And please reach out to me and help me understand, like, what more could I have done or advocated for myself, or what can I do? So oddly enough, 3 weeks ago, my dad had a accident, and that was awful. And my mom, a couple days ago, she had severe poison ivy, and it was getting bad, so she had to go see a wound care specialist. Well, when she got there, her blood pressure was way up, and so they had to admit her to the hospital. Now, my mom has a fluctuation of blood pressure, so having high blood pressure is not anything new to her. But when she was in the emergency room, the physician was talking to her, and my mom mentioned my stroke, and she was talking about family history, about she's seen patients where it for females, that they've noticed that it has been something that's passed on genetically, but does it skip a generation? Like, is my mom at risk? Did the genetic skip to me, and is my sister spared? Since my great aunt had the exact same thing I did. Sadly, she did not live. So, it's like trying to get my sister to get a scan just to check it out, is very important. Sometimes people just don't want to do it because they just don't want to face it. And that's with any medical condition. Some people are, very aware. Let's take breast cancer, for instance. So if your mom had breast cancer, you take, the test to see if you have, if you're at risk for it too. And, if it comes back, then you make the choice. Do you want to have a mastectomy? And, some women do. Some women choose to not, because they just don't want to face, acknowledging that could happen. So I understand the psychological component of it, that some of us are wanting to know, some of us are wanting to know too much to where it's dangerous, and some of us are ignoring it at a healthy level, and some are ignoring it to a point where it is dangerous. So there's a lot of varying factors. But given what I've gone through, I just want to know, who do I get in connection with to do what I can to be a service of any way? And, what can we do as preventative measures to ensure this doesn't happen? Sadly, with, my type of stroke, it, oddly enough, it happens at night. And, you're asleep and you don't wake up. And why is it at night? Why isn't it during the day? I don't understand. understand that. And maybe I haven't seen enough material come up about that. And thankfully, I'm a night owl, so I was completely awake. Had I gone to bed earlier, I wouldn't be here today. I would not be here today. I thank God for sleep problems because I was able to catch it. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that after my 1 year mark, I am trying to figure out what is my next move. I want to continue the blogs, maybe monthly or something, or if, maybe more than that if something else comes up. I still want to document my journey. Even if people aren't reading it, I still want that documentation, if it's of service to anyone, even a service to me for my emotional well-being, to be able to just vocalize what's going on and for others to see it. And my deep discussions, I'm going to always continue doing that because there's just so many things to cover, and I feel that they're very important. The reason why I'm not going into one particular subject is because I just want to let you guys know kind of where my headspace is at this point, as I'm approaching that 1 year mark. So basically, I just want to do what I can to save as many people as I can, or be helpful to those who have endured this awful hell that we're put in, and that we can rise from this and we can teach each other, and you're not alone. So I'm trying to figure out this roadmap for myself at the 1 year mark. And I'm looking at, how do I get a grant? Should I start a foundation? How hard is that going to be to maintain? Am I going to be able to keep a revenue coming? There's just so many different factors. Can I do, offer consult? Can I be part of a research? Can I be part of a panel? These are just all these things that I'm looking at moving forward after my 1 year mark. So just looking at all these things, and I'm trying, and I'm just not getting anywhere. Like, I'm just not finding anything that really gravitates towards me and what I want to do. So there are some great foundations out there that are doing wonderful work, and I applaud them for them. The B Foundation is one. They're focused on brain aneurysms, and that's very important. And check them out. They are great, and they do a lot for awareness, and that, and there's other stroke foundations too. And a lot of them are started from people that have gone through it themselves, or that someone, that they knew suffered it, and so that they felt like it was their calling. So there are a ton of very helpful foundations out there that were self-started because they saw that need. So I don't know if that's what I need to do myself. So basically, I'm just going to do a lot of really reading into like anything that I can do to be of service. That's my 2021 plan, is to start contributing towards stroke. So I feel like there's more opportunity with the UK. I do applaud the UK with as much information as they have out there. I think that they're doing great work. In the United States, you know, we have a very large foundation, the American Stroke Foundation. I haven't really come across a lot other than the self-starter ones. So I don't know. It's going to be a lot of thinking. So if anyone has any input, ideas of something I can get involved in, or you know, to help out, please let me know. Let me know if I'm off base on what I'm thinking. You know, I need that input. So, and you know, I will always be there to help anyone out with anything that they're going through. If you need motivation, if you just need to pour yourself out and get it out, I'm there. I'm always there 100% to help anyone at any capacity, even if it's figuring out your health insurance and what to do. Like, I know how to do all that stuff. Like, trust me, like, I am a tool. Like, use me. I'm there. So I hope that everyone is, you know, getting something out of it. You know, if you're reading my blogs and reading it and kind of being like, yeah, I feel that way, or, you know, okay, that's a different aspect on what's going on. Or if you're watching my videos and you're like, yeah, okay, I get that, I understand, I sympathize, I'm going through this too, or no, I'm not going through this, so that's a different aspect I didn't. Or, you know, if you don't click on anything, but you're just showing me support, I still appreciate that. You know, it means a lot to me. So overall, I think as a stroke, brain aneurysm, hydrocephalus, as a community of survivors, that we need to support one another, and at, you know, whatever we can. So sometimes people need to take breaks, which is understandable, to kind of regroup themselves and kind of refocus. So if you see someone disappear for a bit, don't think that they're done with their mission in life. They're just kind of resetting things for themselves, which, you know, we all should do.